don't want to hold this topic any further. We're already 30 minutes into the show. Again, it wasn't going to be a topic, but well, here we are. And that's what I love about podcasting with these two fine gentlemen. We get passionate about topics and we get into it. Jamie, I'm going to go to you first on the next topic immediately. Now, this is the one that I have a bit of a pointed conversation. You said something in your opening regarding a paywall and a certain journalist who I talk about on a regular basis. That is Tom Warren of The Verge. Now, I, for the most part, like what Tom does, but sometimes I don't. And I'm sure that there are a lot of people right now in this chat that like what I do, and then sometimes they don't. You know what? That's okay. But I want to talk about what was reported by Tom Warren, and mind you, I'm using Hazardor Gaming. He basically broke it down in nice bullet points of what was reported. I don't subscribe to Notebook or Notepad, I believe it's called, which is Tom Warren's paywalled part of the journalism that he does. I'm not going to pay for that. That's fine. I like Tom's work. I will read it. I will use it as sources. I will source it live on the air when I do use Tom's stuff. But I'm not paying for any information, especially information like this. So this was posted last week, and it kind of left a sour taste in my mouth because it's one of those instances where, based on a reply from Jez Corden, the media, or at least this particular part of the media, got it wrong again. And it's, to me, I mean, is anyone else tired of the pile on Xbox for clicks? Like, I mean, come on. It's to the point that they could cure cancer tomorrow, and instead of saying, well, thank you for saving all these lives, Microsoft, you know what you'll get? Well, how come it took this long? How come this wasn't years ago? What were you waiting for? You trying to make money? Is that what this is about? It wouldn't be the fact that they actually cured it. It'd be like, why didn't you? What took you so long? So even after June's event, and yes, Game Pass got a price increase, and that sucks. But you know what? If you are a frugal gamer, like the retired guy in front of you, you go and find ways to get a service like Game Pass, and you don't pay full boat. It's not like Sony that blocked out stacking across all of the tiers with no way to stack. But no one talked about that. But let me just get, Jamie, I want to read you verbatim. That was Hazardor Gaming of Twitter. It's Hazardor Gaming with a missing G. Follow this dude. He's a phenomenal part of the community. He says this, ladies and gentlemen, according to Tom Warren's newsletter / source, Microsoft is to change its strategy for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Also, will stop progressively promoting in certain markets and focus on Xbox Game Pass, PC, cloud gaming, and controllers. And basically, if you read the article, it was suggested based on Tom Warren's sources that they were going to be less aggressive in Europe. Now, he didn't say they were going to pull out altogether, but he suggests that their intents in that region of the world was going to lessen. Well, Jez Corden, being who Jez Corden is, responded to it almost immediately. And Tom Warren actually kind of responded back to him rather quickly with a bit of a snarky response. So Jez Corden says, for those asking, I'm told Microsoft has no plans to pull Xbox out of retail in Europe. And, well, that's what the story was people were running with. Now, whether Tom, I didn't read it, but I'm going based on some people that did read it. That's what he was suggesting. Well, Tom responded, that's not what was reported, with an upside down smiley face. And, Jez responded, I know, LOL, alas. And, well, this is how the gaming community is, unfortunately. This is how people run with narratives. But the story itself is just another instance, Jamie Moran, of the media just getting it wrong. This was wrong. He should have pulled his story. He didn't. It's still available from what I understand. And I'm going to be honest with you. It's just, to me, it look, when you read as many articles as I do on a daily basis, I'm good for 15 to 20 per day. That's why I can produce 5 days a week in the summer, because there's not a lot of stuff happening, but I dig through the crevices because I love the industry, I love gaming, and I love podcasting. So I want to give you fine folks a great show. And in order to do that, I have to spend the time looking for things that are going to be interesting or interesting to you. So you tune in. And one of the things I find almost on a regular basis is the hate piling on that goes on for Xbox. No matter what they do, I'm not saying that that's what Tom Warren was doing. I'm saying it's another negative story that to me seems like fastest first. Once again, what are your thoughts?
I mean, like you said, it's fastest first. And what I hate about traditional media is that if they get something wrong and it's debunked almost immediately, these people they don't retract articles anymore. They don't pull them anymore. They never issue apologies straight away anymore because they get clicks, they get money. Like look at people that post tweets about like rumors and stuff, right? If the rumor's debunked, 90% of the time, someone will actually just quote tweet themselves saying, "Hey, sorry, I got this wrong." They'll leave the original tweet up because it makes money. It's the world we live in. People do this, and like Tom Warren's paid, you know,
I believe it's called Notepad, is what it
notepad.
is. Yeah.
It's like $7 a month for some articles. And now, why would you subscribe to a notepad for articles if it wasn't some juicy material? Like, let's say hypothetically, we live in a world where none of these rumors happened this past week. What was going to be in that paid service, that paid article, right? It'll be things like Amazon Fire TV Stick now on sale with Xbox Game Pass. Phil Spencer just wiped his nose. Like nothing else has happened in gaming, right? So, like, it's a bit weird how, like, yeah, it has this like notepad now that's behind a paywall, but these juicy stories just so happen to be available in his notepad. Now, am I saying he made it up? No, I'm not saying that. But it is a bit weird. Like Microsoft, they are on the biggest uptick ever. Like, despite all the FUD Xbox has had this year, they have more studios than ever. They fixed the studio problem. The quality of games coming are really high, which people have been complaining about. And now Xbox is a place where they're going to put out multiple big games every single year alongside smaller games. And they're in a great place. They had the best summer showcase possibly of all time, to the point where even massive
Yeah.
PlayStation content creators were like, "Wow, that's the best showcase I've ever seen." So, like, despite all that, like they're in a great place, right? People are still pushing the whole multi-platform thing that happened at the beginning of the year. We already knew there was going to be multi-platform games. Phil Spencer even said in 2020 when they bought Bethesda, "Hey, some things will still be multi-platform." Example: Doom, The Dark Ages. So, like, people are still pushing this thing, and it's like negative Xbox news gets more views. Like after this podcast finish, I guarantee if anyone just goes onto YouTube and search Starfield, right? Just type Starfield, hit enter. I guarantee you that the most viewed videos on that topic are negative. Why Starfield failed? Why Starfield is doomed? Starfield failed, all this stuff. You won't see people say, "Hey, Starfield is a gem. Starfield is a great sci-fi RPG." You won't see that. Positivity gets less clicks. It's crap that we live in this world, right? But this is what it is now. And just like, why didn't he pull the article? Back in the day, journalists used to hear something and then they'd go check several different sources and then report about it.
Yes.
But now they don't do that. Now it's about first come, first serve. And it's excruciating. It's so annoying because there's plenty of stories that go live and people just run with it straight away. Do you know 90% of the time a rumor pops up, I don't talk about it on Twitter or on my channel because 90% of game rumors start off with someone on Reddit going, "I heard this," right? No, you didn't hear it from anyone. This is like 90% of the stuff. And like maybe Tom Warren did hear something. And maybe it was from an unreliable source. Maybe it was a reliable source that's sometimes right. But my point is that they keep running with these stories straight away rather than waiting for extra sources. And it's becoming really obvious. I think the Xbox fandom is getting really sick of it because it's happening on a weekly basis now. This week, or Xbox is pulling out of Europe. Last week, or Xbox is going to stop selling consoles because of the Amazon Fire Stick thing. And next week, it's going to be like Phil Spencer is sacrificing kittens to the old gods, right? That's what's going to happen. And like you said, Phil Spencer and like Microsoft and Xbox, they could cure cancer tomorrow, and people would say, "Why didn't you do it last week?" And that's what people are like now. People are thirsty for Xbox news to just hate on. Look at earlier in the year when they announced the 4 multi-platform games. You have people that have built up libraries on Xbox that have been fans of Xbox for 20 years, have now just flipped a switch, and they're just running with any negative Xbox story just to hate. That's their entire personality now, is hating on Xbox because of some games going multi-platform. So they'll reach onto stories like this. That's why these stories get clicks, because people just like running with things. Negativity on Twitter, articles, videos gets clicks. Positivity doesn't. People don't like positivity. People don't like positivity. People love drama. And like, you don't see this with PlayStation and Nintendo. Like, Nintendo, think about this. Xbox gets hated on 24/7. And they've already confirmed a new console. They've already confirmed that they're working on multiple games, right? We already know this. Nintendo, the Wii U sold 13 million consoles. It is a literal failure. And they came back swinging and have possibly one of the most successful consoles of all time.
Yep.
Right? And Nintendo with the Wii U didn't get this much hate every single day about every single topic. People are still loving Nintendo's games, saying, "Hey, the Wii U might be trash, but this game's excellent."
Yeah, no, I was literally going to say that. Like, literally, the games were coming out and the games were phenomenal, but the system was just rubbish. But
yeah,
the games were still good.
Yeah, and like Xbox, they're at a place now where, like, the development tools clearly needed some work, but hardware, software, great now. They actually have a roadmap, and this has been my biggest point of contention with Xbox for years, is that they never had a roadmap.
Nope.
We would always hear about games that were years out, maybe didn't even have release windows, and now we know games coming this year, next year, and beyond. Like, everything on as an Xbox fan, you literally have nothing to worry about. Nothing at all. And even if you're on a PC game and you like Xbox games, nothing to worry about. But it's the millions of people, hundreds of thousands of people that it's like flies are attracted to what? Exactly.
Yeah, you're not lying.
And like this stuff just gets clicks. And like Tom Warren's thing, I've just checked, it's $7 per month, right?
Yes,
right.
$7.
Why would you have something like that if you're just going to put no one cares nonsense articles behind them? Like, you wouldn't. Like, so I don't know what to make of the situation. I just think that journalists need to maybe just wait, maybe stop like hearing something and then reporting on it straight away. Like how much time is there between hearing a rumor like that and writing a whole article for your paid service? Maybe wait a day or two. And like we were talking before about the Halo rumors, like there are people that were hearing Halo rumors and making videos about those rumors just to bash Xbox and stuff within an hour. I saw people live streaming those things live, and that's where we're at now. People don't like to wait. People want the clicks. People want the money immediately. They don't care. They don't care whether it's true or not, and it's sad.
Indeed, it is, Jamie Moran. Listen, shout out to 500 live viewers here on a hot Tuesday. Hopefully, wherever you are, you're listening to the podcast and you are keeping cool. Listen, we have a couple of super chats I'm going to get to at the end of this topic, but I want to go right to Infinite Umbra. Infinite, look, as content creators, and one of the biggest, I think, challenges for current gaming journalists is us as a community. Like, the content creation community is vast. Now, some of it is rubbish, sure. A lot of it is really good. And there are a lot of amazing podcasters that cover Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, PC, or all of them under the sun. And one of the things that I think that we see, and again, it's a mixed bag. You get a lot of disingenuous takes for chasing the old dollar. We've no names here, folks, because we don't want a flame war with anybody. But you know who I'm talking about. You know the ones to stay away from. And there are a lot of really, really great podcasters. You got PTK Blam, you got Everborn, you got Asante, you got Mav, you got Pong, you got Ice Steel Rain. There's just tons of them out there that you can find that go out of their way to tell positive stories for whatever console they're covering. And of course, where there's smoke, that you give it and you do it respectfully. But this is one of those instances where the fastest first thing seems to have come to a head. I talk about this all the time. It's one of the things I currently that actually disgust me as at current gaming journalism. There are a lot of disingenuous takes and takers out there. Not suggesting that Tom Warren is one of them. I'm not. What I'm saying is that this is a story that was hidden behind a paywall that no one else was reporting on. And it's one of those stories that make you scratch your head. And in recent weeks, months, Tom has put out a lot of, reported on a lot of negative Xbox news, some of it worthy of a conversation, some of it opinion based. I don't understand it personally. Again, I'm not telling him how to do his job. He's a journalist. He's got to pay his rent or his mortgage. So no harm, no foul here. I still like Tom. I still read his stuff. But this is a bit of a conundrum. And I'm glad that someone like Jez Corden, who I have an unbelievable amount of respect for, not only because I like him as a journalist, but I know him personally, where he came out and poo-pooed this almost immediately. The thought or the suggestion that the same way Xbox is not as prevalent in Japan, which, of course, listen, right now, PlayStation rules the roost in the EU. That's just a fact. Is that going to change? Potentially, but that's not the case right now. But to even suggest that they were going to, put a less emphasis into the European market seems foolhardy at best. I want to get your hot take on it.
Well, I think Jamie summed it up really nicely in some ways. And I'm going to say this. I think, how do I say this without sounding mean? I think the Xbox community in general has become very sensitive when it comes to certain things. And it's because of, the quote unquote Xbox tax, which I do believe exists in a way. Not the way that people would say, like, oh, they're just all coming together as a cabal against Xbox. That's not what we mean. Right. We're talking about how people dive into negativity when it's Xbox related to push I guess clicks, because Jamie is right that negativity draws people in, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I personally don't do the whole negative thing when it comes to anything gaming typically. And I've noticed that even on my podcast where I'm not doing a whole negative thing, and I will see a lack of people that I know will be in other people's podcasts because they're talking negative. So it definitely is the case that negativity drives clicks. So I get that. And I'm not going to say that Tom is above doing it, but from what I've seen with what he's put out over time, I think Tom is fairly above board when it comes to the articles and things he does. I haven't read everything he does. And what I would say with this being behind a paywall and at $7, you said, right, Jamie?
Yeah, $7 a month. Yep.
I can understand why people had a problem with it because they couldn't verify anything, right? So I get that. And like you said, it's behind a paywall. So who was like, oh, this juicy details right here must be something real, but I can't verify that it's behind this paywall and I'm not going to pay that, right? And I get they got to make their money too. And it's like you said, Boom, it's not like we want to throw Tom under the bus or anything like that. But I get the concerns from the community because we have been having a lot of negativity we've had to field for so long. That's why I say I think the community is kind of quick to jump to conclusions a little bit in defense because they've dealt with it for so long. I don't think Tom is one of those guys, though. I'm just going to say that. And I don't know the man. I don't talk with him or anything like that. But I don't think he has any negative wheel toward Xbox. And I think if you pay attention to the people who do, you can see who do.
Oh yeah,
It's not.
100%. I don't think
Yeah.
he has a pardon the French, folks, a hard on for Xbox, and he wants to, get his pound of flesh, so to speak.
Interesting choice of words, Boom.
Well, I mean, listen, this is an adult podcast, so I figured I would just let it all hang out, so to speak.
Oh, another interesting choice.
There you go. Pause. No Diddy.
But looking at the article, basically, I think what it is that people kind of took something and ran with it when that wasn't what he was really saying. And even if you look at the replies between him and Jed,
I read them. Yeah.
Now he may have been a kind of harsh to people, but I get it because he's probably being bombarded with people like, "Oh, you." I don't know what people are saying to him. If you go and read some of my replies on Twitter, you'd be like, "Damn, Umbra," because I am pretty harsh to people when they say certain things to me. I'm just going to be honest with you. So don't go look at my stuff, people, or you're going to be ashamed of me.
No, I think you're entitled to have. Again, you're probably responding to people being snarky. And you have every right to be. I agree. I absolutely agree.
Trust me, it is harsh. I'm just going to tell you that now, so I don't want anybody seeing my stuff and like, huh? This is Umbra? Yes, it's me. So I say that to say, and when on The Verge, what he wrote is that they're shifting their approach in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa region, and the plan,
strategy.
Yeah, just the strategy, stopping marketing of Xbox consoles in certain markets within those regions. But it's shifting focus on Xbox Game Pass, cloud gaming, and the controller sales. Right. So it's not like he's saying, "Oh, they're just stopping over there." And I think people kind of took that
as them pulling out of the market altogether, right? And
exactly,
that wasn't the case. Yes.
And people took that and twisted it into something it wasn't. And so that's why I'm saying, like, I'm not against anybody getting the smoke that they would deserve, if they deserve it. But right here, I don't think this is something he would deserve here, because that's not what he said, and it was just taken out of context.
Like a lot of the things, but even then, like I said, I'm going to read verbatim. According to Tom Warren's newsletter/source, Microsoft is to change its strategy for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Mm-hmm. So what is their current strategy? Well, I don't know, because I'm not a part of marketing. Pulling out of the region, that's ridiculous. I did see some people write that. I didn't think that at all. But again, if we're going based on no source that he can go one-to-one with, and we're going on assumptions based on what was written, we'll also stop progressively promoting in markets and certain markets, which is suggesting that they're going to, again, this is opinions, folks, abandon said market. Now, I saw a lot of the comments. Oh yeah, well, I live in this region and Xbox is non-existent. Well, maybe they've done that already. Again, I'm not a part of marketing, folks. I'm just going based on what was written down, and we're talking about it. Do I think Tom's an evildoer? I do not. I like Tom Warren quite a bit. Has he gotten it wrong in the past? Yes, he has. But you know what? So have I, and it's fine. I get out there front facing and be like, you know what, folks, I got it wrong, and I'll take your virtual tomatoes. It's fine. I don't like getting it wrong. It bothers me where I lose sleep, because I put a lot of work and pride goes into these podcasts. So when I do get it wrong, yes, I get out there and I take the virtual tomatoes, as I should, but I hate myself the next day because I shouldn't have gotten it wrong.
Well, listen, that takes integrity, though, right? Boom. So that's good of you that you like that. That's perfect, and that's why we have so much respect in the community.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. And listen, I think you hit it on the head, that I don't think Tom, as you put it, is an evildoer. I think
no,
he's not on Cobra Commander side. He's a G.I. Joe, guys. I think you all might be a bit jumping to conclusion on this one. I think, I look at it again. I think if you pay attention enough to those in media who do what they do, you don't typically see Tom Warren on that side of that. No. He's typically just giving you whatever he's heard or whatever and keeping it moving. He's not like, Xbox is doing this. It's not, you can tell when somebody is trying to do something to get a click, you know what I mean? If they're trying to push something as a negativity, to get a click or on Xbox or Sony, whatever it may be. And I haven't really seen that from him. Now I'm okay with being wrong. Maybe somebody can show me something I haven't seen. But then I've learned that I've even had people tell me things and say, "Oh yeah, it was this," and then they show me. I'm like, "Well, brother, that's not what they said right there."
Yep.
So I think sometimes, again, because a bit of a persecution complex we've kind of developed, we have to be mindful. Not everybody is out there doing the same thing everybody else is doing. I just don't think Tom has done it from what I've seen. And you can even look at the replies between him and Jez. I don't think, from us knowing Jez, and I've communicated with Jez too. I think he's a good brother. I don't think
He's good.
Jez is going to be all nice and but buddy with him either if he knows Tom is not on the up and up. And if you look at their replies in that thread, they're not hostile to each other. It's very
it was a bit cheeky, if you will, if I may be so bold.
Exactly. Just a little cheeky jokes between each other. And Tom clarifies that people misread or didn't fully read. I think he said more like they didn't read and kind of jumped to a conclusion of what he was saying in that article. I think this is kind of a nothing burger in this case.